Welcome to Bantha Milk Podcast presents Around the Dejarik Table, your weekly hyperspace hangout where four Star Wars nerds talk about Star Wars stuff.
Stars, a galaxy spinning through epic memoirs. Dejarik pieces clash in a hologram spree. The table decides what the fate will be.
So that was AI writing our intro song for us.
Why'd you stop it? We wanted to hear
Was that Suno? Please
it
tell
is
me that
Suno.
was
Yep, it was Suno.
Every move's a gamble under the cosmic sky. Strategic lines collide like meteors in flight. Dejarik dreams at night through the endless night. Cookies howl as the moves play out. Smugglers smirk while they dance and scout.
It sounded like she said smuggler smurf, but it was smirk. We're crossing over all generations here. We got this is your Star Wars Smurf broadcast with Smurfy Star Wars characters. All right, that's enough of that. Tom, go for it.
All right, so welcome to the Bantha Milk Podcast. We have Rob over here who has got more Star Wars trivia in his brain than the Jedi archives, and he's not afraid to correct your canon. However, he can't spell any of the Star Wars characters, but that's beside the point.
Nope.
It's Rob.
That's right, and I don't know, hi, go Star Wars Sports. Yay, team. All right, next we have a smooth talker from the Outer Rim who could convince a Wookiee to shave. Give it up for the one and only Tom.
Thank you. I can't shave myself, but I can convince a Wookiee to shave. We also have our Mandalorian apologist, a resident Mandalorian apologist, and no, he won't take off his helmet. It's Ken.
Hello there. I guess I'll take it off for this show. Just do me a favor, please. Don't tell the armorer I did it because I definitely don't have time to take a bath in the living waters of Mandalore anytime soon.
You can go see that the mythosaur though if you do that. You swim all the way down there.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Now it's got me thinking.
Yeah, now you want to do it.
Well, finally, the wild card at the table. The guy who thinks that Jar Jar Binks might have been up to something. Brace yourself for David.
Hello there. So grab a glass of blue milk, shuffle the Dejarik board, and let's jump to Lightspeed because the conversation is about to begin.
Yes, it is. Tom doesn't want everything to be so scripted, but I wanted to have a fun intro, and I ain't too smart none to write something as clever as that. So we got ourselves a scripted intro there. But from here on out, it's completely unscripted, and who knows what's going to happen. We do know we have 4 questions for us. Each one of us thought very hard and deep and came up with our very own questions. And we're going to give you what we think the correct answer is to each of these 4 questions. As you're listening along or watching us on YouTube or anything else like that, please let us know if you agree with our answers. Like, subscribe, comment down below, do all those fun things. Ken, over on his own podcast, The Rambling Star Wars Fan, he just picked some random number out of the sky. He wants to get 1,977 fans over there. I'm not really sure why that specific number. I mean, it wouldn't have anything to do with Star Wars release date or anything like that.
Yeah,
no, not at all.
Only a number a nerd would know.
That's right. So you can.
Remember when he gets his 2 millionth fan, he's taking us to Hollywood Studios for a visit to Batuu.
That's right. He's going to get us. He's going to get a VIP tour guide. Also, I'm going to make sure that's in on the action there. Get us a VIP tour guide.
So everyone, right now, go to the Rambling Star Wars Fan and subscribe.
That's right.
Get your friends to subscribe.
We will.
I was this close to getting you guys tickets to the Halcyon, but unfortunately,
it closed. David already has his bags packed. He's ready to go. Yeah, man, I hear you. All right, you couldn't hear him, but we did. We heard him there for a second. We keep talking over poor David. He's trying to say stuff, and we won't let him. All right, so let's get started. I have been fortunate enough to go a few times, but it wasn't until most recently. But our good friend Tom over there, he has not been there yet The last time he went to a Disney a Disney theme park was back before they had a destination called Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So since Tom hasn't been there yet, guys, what is your favorite thing to do at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Tom, since you haven't been there yet, I know you've watched a YouTube video or two. So looking at the YouTube videos, what do you think is the greatest thing that you want to do when you go there? How about that?
I actually tried not to look up any of the ride details. I didn't watch the YouTube ride-alongs or anything like that. My daughter just went for her senior class trip, and I refused to watch the video she took while she was on the rides because I want to be surprised. Next year's my 50th birthday. I plan on going and seeing all the Star Wars land, going in there, doing everything, seeing everything for the first time. I think the thing I'm most excited to see is not anything one specific. I just want to kind of walk through the land and just take it all in. That's really what I just want to see. I'm not really excited to see one specific thing. It just stinks because the last time I was at Hollywood Studios was literally months before so I just missed it by a couple months. So I'm really excited to go. I'm probably going to go this fall. So let's hear from the guys who actually have been there. Ken, how about you?
Yeah, so I've been there a couple times. I've only gone to Batu East. Haven't made it out to Batu West yet. And it's funny that you said you were there right before it opened. It's probably a blessing in disguise because when it originally opened, you were limited to the amount of time that you could spend there.
Yeah.
They gave everybody wristbands, and I think it was maybe like 4 hours or something like that. So now it's no limits to that. And for me, yes, there's food stalls. You can buy stuff. You can ride the rides. I love walking around, and you said taking it all in, taking a bajillion pictures. I mean, they've got little cages with helmets and blasters and detonators in them. They've got door panels that look like they're straight out of Batu.
Straight out of Batu.
We need to get the straight out of Batu t-shirts.
Yes.
So for me, I just love walking around, and I'm one of those Disney fans who likes getting pictures with the characters. So if Vi Marati is walking around or Chewbacca is walking around, I try to get a hug or whatever. So for me, it's taking pictures. How about you, Dave? What do you do when you get there?
So I've actually only been once, and it was on my school that I work at, their senior trip. I was very lucky to be chosen, as a chaperone for a senior trip. You have a decent amount of freedom at different points during the time. So I got a good chance the day we were in Hollywood Studios to pretty much do everything that I could do at Galaxy's Edge. And I told everybody that I was chaperoning with, even all the kids, how excited I was to build my own lightsaber, because that was number one on my list. I didn't care how much it cost, whether it was, $100 or $250, which it was. The whole experience was so immersive. It was very cool. I felt like a little kid. You walked in, the actors that play the person
Saber Masters,
all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Allows you to pick your kyber crystal and put it in that little thing so it starts to glow. Like it was just a very cool experience. And then I'm not going to spoil it for Tom, like the ending of it.
Thank you.
But if you guys have done it as well, the ending as well, to that whole experience. And I don't know. It was definitely on my bucket list of things to do, and I was very lucky I was able to do it during that trip.
Well, I thought
Did you have actual trouble like picking what you wanted to do for your light? Because I can't imagine the choices that you would have creating your own saber. Like I would just be stuck trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I would want all of them.
Yeah, so it's funny. So you have options on like kind of the design that you can utilize. I think there was 4 or 5 options. And I just kind of looked, and you get kind of a pin before you go in that like signifies which option you have. So I just was looking around, and I was seeing what everyone was picking, and I just went with the opposite of what everyone else was doing.
Good strategy.
Yeah, so I was just like, I want it to be different, So I picked the different style that I don't think anybody else in the workshop was doing, and then I picked the purple kyber crystal because it's always been my favorite color lightsaber from the prequels, Mace Windu. But once again, like the whole experience from like start to finish was awesome. There wasn't a huge wait time. You reserve your spot before you go. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you put your reservation in for it.
Bring a friend.
Yeah, bring a friend with you because you can bring a +1 as well.
They can record the thing for you while you're building it.
Yep. I will say I was taking my time, like kind of putting the pieces together. And as I finished mine up, I looked around and the main guy was just like standing in front of me, staring at me as I looked up, and I'm like, oh, they're waiting for me. Like this experience only took 1 minutes, you know? Like I think they went a little overtime, but they were very patient, which was awesome.
I did the same thing. I was like, I'm paying this much money to build my own lightsaber. I'm taking my time, and I'm going to remember this. And I didn't care that the 7, 8-year-olds that were at the other end of the room picked their 5 pieces and were like, and I'm ready. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm like, Trey was with me, and I'm like, what do you want, this piece or this piece? He's like, I don't know. I actually have mine hanging on the wall behind me. But yeah, you get like 4 different things to start with, like 4 options, and I forget what the name of mine was, but there was one that had like, it was supposed to be like a bone on the bottom of it, which looked
the rancor tooth.
Yeah, which looked cool, but it looked also plastic to me. So I was like, I wanted the rancor tooth, but I was like, it just looks too plasticky and too fake. And for the amount of money, I wanted it to look like real heavy and stuff like that. So, and then you have there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pieces. And with these 5 different pieces, they give you like 4 options with yours. Yeah, yours is cool. I like yours also.
I like that one. Is that like supposed to be leather or something that's on it? What's the tan piece supposed to be?
That's a great question. Not 100% sure.
It looks like bone or leather or something. Maybe it's bone.
Yeah. What's interesting is since you guys built yours, there have been new additions.
Yeah.
So new pieces. And what David was talking about is you get to kind of select the theme of it, and then within that theme there are a couple different things. So there's the pommel, there's the emitter, there's the sleeves, and that kind of stuff. So you can kind of mix and match with it. So you can't get one from every theme, but they help you narrow it down.
Yeah.
So during that 20-minute experience, you're not fumbling for it. And when they put the stuff in front of you, it's all ready to go, including the kyber crystal. The one thing I was really surprised by, and I didn't make one, I was somebody else's +1.
Okay.
I was really surprised when there was the Betty White hologram. Like I didn't understand how that all fit into the story, but you'll have to experience it for yourself, I guess. Yeah,
Tom, you'll just have to wait till you see Betty White show up there. But yeah, I did a purple one also, but then we also bought we bought extra crystals because you can swap them out. So there was a thing with the red crystals. When you buy the extra crystals that are hanging on the wall, they're in like a bag that's not see-through, so you can't tell, but they're listed by like the color. But the red ones, some of the red ones were also black crystals, but they emitted red. So we were like, okay, let's get a red one also. So we got a red one, and sure enough, we got a black one. So we were like, yeah, we got a black one that was in the red bag. So it was really cool for that. So that's why mine lights up red right now instead of the purple. But you can also switch the crystals out with the holocrons as well. I don't know if this is... Yeah, my batteries are dead in this one.
This is like show and tell.
Yeah, it is like show and tell. Look at my holocron.
Star Wars show and tell.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
There you go.
We need to do that one time.
So we'll do it. We'll do
show
it
and tell.
Star Wars show and tell. Yeah. What color is yours in there, Ken?
This one I think is just empty at the moment.
Okay.
Because I ended up I wasn't lucky enough to get a black crystal. I ended up getting like four red ones.
Okay.
I really wanted to find a black because it's like a mystery thing.
Yeah, it was a mystery thing. So there's like a mystery box, and you could get. There we go. So yeah, so I have my purple crystal inside of this one. But yeah, so that is a lot of fun, and I was hoping that somebody was going to say it because I wanted to say that, but I was like, oh, there's something else that I like even better than that. So now that we analyzed Dave's decision, I think it's my turn. All 3 are great answers. I did take like 1,000 pictures as well when we were walking around Galaxy's Edge, and it was funny. My son wanted to ride one. I forget which ride it was. He wanted to ride one of the rides last, on the last at the end of the night. So he's like, that way, it's all the way in the back of the park. There's going to be a long line. We're going to have to wait like an hour.
Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, did I tell the story already?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's the farthest ride in
Okay.
that section of the park.
Yeah, I think it was Smuggler's Run too. So no, I don't know. It doesn't matter either one. But in Galaxy's Edge, both of them. Yeah, it was Smuggler's Run. Sorry. So he wanted to like get in a long line so that we would be really late. The whole park would be empty, and we'd be the only ones like walking out. We get there, and there's no line whatsoever. So we walk through we're just like nonstop walking all the way through the queue, like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We did get out late, which was nice. It wasn't as late as he wanted to do. He's like, okay, we're only like 5 minutes after actual close time. And I'm like, okay. But as we were walking around, Ray was standing there, and she was talking to another family, and I don't know what I actually wanted to say to her, because I just wanted to say hi, maybe. I don't even know. But I was just like standing there waiting, and we're waiting for, it felt like ever. It was probably like 1 minute. But then Trey was like, come on, you look like a creeper standing here just waiting. And I was like, all right, let's go. Like, because then you don't want to be that dude is like, oh, you're awesome. You're Ray, and I love Star Wars, So it was like, I didn't even know what I was going to say to her, but I just wanted to be like, hi. And then that would have been it. That would have been fine with me, and I would have walked away, but whatever. So we did see her at the end. But my favorite thing to do, there is like a whole hidden game in Galaxy's Edge that you can do with the app on your phone. You can go around to different places and make different things happen. And if you complete enough missions and go over to the Millennium Falcon and type in the right code, you can make the Millennium Falcon shoot out gas out of it and stuff like that. So it's not a ride. It's not even really publicized too much. It's like one of those if you know type of things. So that was my favorite thing to do. But the only problem when we were doing it, my kids were like, okay, Dad, there's like 21 more steps. Can we go somewhere else? And this isn't even a ride, like they were like bored with doing it, but I wanted to keep doing. I was like, all right. So I never got to finish it. So Tom, when you go back without the kids, you're able to go through this and just do all the steps and have all the fun with the
I would
app.
definitely try it. I mean, my youngest son and I we just did Universal last year, all the wand stuff.
Yeah, it's similar to that.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
It's like bounty hunting.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fun thing to do. So I like that because it was a little bit different, but it just that area of the park, it's so immersive. It looks so real. It makes you really feel like you're in there. I just wish that
even the sight lines.
Yeah.
So in that park, it was built in such a way, both Batu West and Batu East. No matter where you are in the park, when you look to the sky, all you see is the park. You don't see any of the other stuff. So it's like you're just there.
Yeah.
Disney's so good at doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney's really good at that.
Yeah.
Six Flags, not so much.
No, not Six Flags. Even I'm Bantha Milk. We're part of the Ears Up network, and some of the other guys, they were saying like they were just at Universal and the Velocicoaster. I think it was the Velocicoaster. They loved it. It was a lot of fun, but every time you went down a certain hill, you went around and you were like going right past Diagon Alley or something like that. So you could see
it's right up along all of that. So the castle, the another roller coaster, like there's all kinds of stuff that you pass there.
Yeah, so it's not as immersive. Like when you're there, you're actually going into 2 or 3 different lands at the same time. So they were like, that's where Disney does things a little bit better and a little bit differently. Is they really want to keep you immersed in that world or in that area or whatever. So
and make sure you have a high spending limit on your credit card, because you can actually buy a full-size working astromech, and it's only $25,000.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then you have to figure out how you're going to take it home. But that doesn't matter. If you can afford the $25,000 astromech, you can afford to ship it home also.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can
Ride
get
it home for that price.
That's right. You can get the mini droid. Ken, did you make the mini droids when you were there?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Heather made it R2FU.
There you go. I forget what I named mine, but I named it after somebody. I'll have to tell you off the air who I named it after, but I named it after somebody, but I forget what it was called. But anyway, yeah. So they were fun to make also. It's a shame mine just sits here on the shelf now. Like I don't even like.
Ours is up in the corner.
Yeah, like it's just there. They're neat, and it's not as immersive of an experience as building the lightsaber is. So if you were only going to do one, even though the lightsaber's $100 more, I would definitely suggest the lightsaber over the droid because it is such a better experience. That would be one of the jobs that I would want to do if I worked at Disney. It would be that guy
1,000,000%.
Yeah. Because it's so much fun, and you just see, yeah. Everybody's so excited when they're leaving there. They're so happy, and like you just know that
whether you're 6 or 66.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I was. Trey was like, "Can I hold a lightsaber?" I'm like, "I'm not done holding it yet. Hold on." Like, okay, now give it back. So it was like. It was really
Rob,
funny.
you would break character so much if you did that job. You'd be like, this is so cool.
That's an awesome lightsaber that you're doing there. That's the best one I've seen. Yeah, I totally would. All right, well, now that we went through my question, Tom, your question is next. So go ahead, tell us what you want us to try and figure out.
I guess we have an AI theme, and we didn't even talk about this before. I wanted in school we've been learning about AI. I've been letting the kids, try all kinds of cool AI stuff. So I'm like, I had trouble thinking of some type of topic that I wanted to talk about tonight. And I'm like, let's let AI decide. So I thought of a topic. I said, well, could AI come up with a better story for the sequel trilogy than what we got? Immediately without even seeing the results, I would say yes, because I did not enjoy the sequel trilogy, but that's besides the point. So I wanted to see what you guys thought of this. So these guys don't know what these 4 storylines are. So I'm just going to say them, all 4, and then you guys can make comments on them. Do you want me to say all 4, or do you want me to do one at a time?
Clarifying question before you do it.
Sure.
So the trilogy that you've had AI generate, that's to replace what currently exists.
To replace the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
Do you have multiple?
Do you guys want to do one at a time?
Yeah, do one. Let's see what you're starting with here.
Okay. Storyline 1. The legacy characters struggle to rebuild the Jedi Order and navigate the complexities of the galaxy, still recovering from the Empire's fall.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
It's close. I feel like it's close to what we have, but okay, I like it. Are we ranking like each one separately?
Yeah, we can rank when we're done.
Okay.
Let's rank when we're done. We'll do that.
Sure.
Because there's 4. Storyline 2. Following the defeat of the Empire, a new threat emerges from within the remnants of an Imperial faction, or a new Sith Order seeking revenge.
Okay.
All right.
Storyline 3. The Force is in turmoil, with both the light and the dark side seeking dominance. The new and the old heroes must work to restore this balance, perhaps involving ancient Sith and Jedi artifacts that threaten to reignite an age-old war.
Ooh.
Okay.
Storyline 4. This is a little similar to 2, I think. Storyline 4. A new Sith Order emerges, led by a charismatic yet ruthless leader who seeks to manipulate the galaxy's power structures. The Jedi must unite the remnants of the Rebel Alliance and other factions to combat this threat.
Okay.
So which one of those was your favorite? And
which one of those is it that somehow Palpatine returns?
Palpatine's back?
So, I think all 4 of these are different than what the real storyline is. Well, first of all, is there a real storyline? Is there any cohesive storyline?
Well,
Sorry,
there were
I'm going on a rant.
characters. They were the same characters in all three episodes. So
So I feel like these you can think of these when you think of these storylines, incorporate what we already know. Like the characters that were introduced in The Force Awakens are the characters that are also going to be in the sequel.
Please reread the second one for me, please.
The second one is following the defeat of the Empire, a new threat emerges from within the remnants of an Imperial faction or a new Sith Order seeking revenge.
all right.
I think that's my go-to.
Okay. Go ahead, Ken.
You've got this new Sith so it's someone who knows of the Sith Order, what they stood for, and taking the place of or attempting to be more powerful than the Emperor was. I could get with that one.
Okay.
I
David,
think I like number 3. You were talking about like the old Jedi and Sith relics and kind of how they're coming into play. I know we got a little bit of that, I think, in The Last Jedi, right? Rey found that old, what was that dagger called?
That was in Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
The Rise of Skywalker found that old dagger, and and then the I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm having a big brain fart right now. We also had the
you sound like me. It's all right.
Remember that bumbling guy?
Yeah. But yeah. So I think that the third one definitely sounds like an interesting because I'd like to see more of that. But other than that.
I'm gonna go with the third one as well because although I think it depends how well it's written. I don't want it to be so confusing that they're going like back in time to the old to get the old relics or something like that or whatever. I think if they can find the old relics and know where to look for them, like if they found an old Jedi temple or something like that, or R2-D2 pieces together the holes in the map and we can find where the Jedi temples are with these old relics, I think that would be fun. But yeah, I liked whatever the first sentence was in the third one is what like caught me the most. So how did it start again, Tom?
The Force is in turmoil with both the light and the dark seeking dominance.
Sounds like rolling credits, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's definitely scrolling up the screen right there. So, yeah.
And that's something that you could do over 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like that would be perfectly set up for 3 movies.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going with I agree. I like out of those 4 choices, I also think the third one is the one that catches my eye the most. What about you, Thomas? You had the most time to think about this.
I like 2 as with Ken, and then I like 3 as well. I think 2 is very similar to what's going on in The Mandalorian, where you have Imperial remnants, which I enjoy. I like that a lot. I like the fact that there are little factions of the Imperial forces out there. But I think 3 is still my favorite. I like the idea of having this light versus dark. Isn't that what the first 6 movies are really about?
Yeah.
So this is really just kind of continuing them. So
and
I
there was
like
portions
that.
of that in the animated shows.
Yeah.
So Cad
especially
Bane
Rebels.
Especially Rebels. You betcha. The fact that Ezra was able to get into a Jedi temple on Lothal. He's living on this planet that had a Jedi temple there, and he wasn't even aware of it. So yeah, I definitely see some wonderful connections to what already exists. So whatever AI robot you talked with for this was headed in a fun direction.
They know their stuff, man.
Those
AI songs, introductions.
Yeah.
Now movie ideas.
I can't stress enough that all these ideas, no matter which one we feel is a good one, are better than the storylines that they came up with. It's just a fact. It really is. And it's sad. It's sad.
All right. Well, that is.
I will remain silent.
Ken's a fan no matter what. Ken gets offended when you make fun of.
No, not offended.
All right, well, that's halfway. That's 2 questions. We got 2 down, 2 to go. Right now, before we continue, please don't forget to check out all the other shows here on the Ears Up Network. You got the main show, Ears Up. You have Puny Pod, who talks all about Marvel stuff. You have the Supreme Resort, where they talk about comparing Disney World, Walt Disney World versus Disneyland. They compare the two of them back and forth, different rides, different areas. And right now they took a side show, basically. They were talking about Benihana versus, I think they have a hibachi-style restaurant in Disneyland, maybe. So they were comparing the two of those, and there's a lot of history on the history of Benihana. It's very interesting. So if you want to find out more about the history of Benihana while you're listening to Disney stuff, check that out as well. We also have Ken is on just as many podcasts as the Ears Up Network. So, Ken, I'll let you plug away with all your other shows also at this time. Go for it, my man.
Sure thing. So there's that singular show, The Rambling Star Wars Fan, just recently put out another episode. This one was 10 Great Things from The Force Awakens. I am on a show with my buddy Todd called Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, and I'm on a trio, The Inflatable Falcon, with John Scalise and Mike Hinton. And that one we get together every Wednesday night and talk for hours on end about all sorts of randomness.
I was just checking out. I was telling Ken before the show, I was listening to his latest episode of The Rambling Star Wars Fan, and it was a lot of fun with the 10 things of the movie. 10 things about The Force Awakens. He did a very good breakdown of all 10. I like droids. Must I say more? Droids. So we found out not the hard way, but just found out that Ken's a huge fan of droids. So check that out. And I also love the premise of the inflatable Falcon. For those of you that don't know, Ken and Mike found an inflatable ride, like the bouncy house thing.
Bounce house.
Yeah, of a Millennium Falcon bounce house. And you guys even put together a GoFundMe to try and get the money to buy the inflatable Falcon bounce house.
Yeah, because that bounce house that you're talking about is no small thing. It's roughly the size of half a basketball court. And the last retail price that we saw was upwards of $9,000, including sandbags. Yeah. And it has like 4 industrial-sized blowers to inflate the Falcon. There's a slide inside, an inflatable Dejarik table.
I'm in. Once you get it, so go to his GoFundMe, help fund it so that they can buy it, and then everybody will go play. You'll see a whole bunch of 30. Well, David's in his only in his teens. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60-year-old men jumping around on this thing like we're all 8 years old again. All the kids are going to be standing outside. Daddy, can we go in? In a minute. Wait a minute. Not your turn yet.
Don't forget, with our lightsabers.
With our lightsabers. And fully robed. I have my Jedi robes.
Fully robed?
Yeah, I'd be running around in my Jedi.
I'll wear my Sith robe.
Yeah, it would be perfect. It would be awesome.
The best part is those are blunt, so you don't have to worry about puncturing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, it is now Ken's question. So go ahead, Ken. Hit us.
Yes. So we are on the eve of season 2 of Andor. And in fact, Star Wars Celebration is kicking off as we speak over in Tokyo. And one of the things that they've said about Andor season 1 is everyone really enjoyed its writing. So I'm very curious to hear from you guys, what were your favorite quotes or speeches or lines from that movie? And we'll start with the youngster David. What do you have for us?
One way out, man. One way out. There's one episode, one scene that really sticks out with me throughout that whole entire show, and that. I think that episode really. I don't know if that's what got everybody hooked to that show, but I think that was a big turning point for me, because I think we can all agree it started off a little bit slow. I really enjoyed it, but it did start off a little bit slow. And as we kind of got to that part of the story, I think things kind of took a turn, started to ramp up. And, just all the symbolism that kind of goes behind that whole scene, and the sacrifice that, Kino made during that time and was leading everybody out of that prison. And it's almost like it's heartbreaking in a way too, because it's like this is really how like people become rebels, right? It's like the purest distillation of this mindset. There's absolutely no turning back. You have to want to fight. There's only one path forward, even if it's terrifying, even if it means you might not survive. Finding out that he can't swim, which was super tragic at the time. Just hearing that's like, did he survive? Did he not survive? But like, he was laying it all on the line for this rebellion that he kind of jump started and got everybody on board with, one way out. And then just the whole like rhythmic part of it as well, one way out, one way out. That just things like that just really, really stick with you. And it was just something I really enjoyed and still like when I think of that show, that's exactly what I think about. What about you, Rob?
First off, I loved that third of this season when they were in jail and all that stuff, and what were they building, what were they doing for, and all that stuff, and just how they figured out that they can get out. And then that shock and awe of when they finally get out to the surface and then they look out and they're just in the middle of the ocean. And I was like, oh my gosh, even when they get out, they're still not out. And then to find out that he didn't know how to swim. He's like, I can't swim. I was so heartbroken for the guy. You're like, oh my gosh. But yeah, going back to the many, many great quotes in it, I had to actually look it up because maybe now that we're on spring break, I'll rewatch the first season now leading right up to it, so it'll be even better. But on StarWars.com, they have a list of 20 great quotes, 20 rebellious Andor quotes, which was pretty cool. So I was skimming through them, and I'm like, oh, like, she's awesome. The one that was Cassian's mom giving the giant speech, and even the giant hologram of her was awesome. One of the quotes is, "Must everything be boring and sad?" It was the husband. He was on my nerves. But the one that I really loved the most was Cyril's mom. And the quote that they have in here, and the quote that I wrote down was, "You might as well wear a sign that says, 'I promise to disappoint you.'" And I was just like, oh my God, this is so many people's mom right here. Like, this was my mom. I swear to God, no matter what I did, I felt like I was always disappointing my mom. Like, I was like, oh my God. I was the first one in my family to graduate college. She was like, but you could have done it faster. And I'm like, oh my God, like, whatever I did, we bought this really nice house. And she's like, I don't know, I think you got a money trap here. You got a money pit. I'm like, what are you talking about? You should have seen the other homes that we were looking at. Like, never, ever, ever did I feel like I was satisfying her no matter what I did. So to see basically my mom up on stage, you still don't have a job? Well, I could call, whatever it was, I could call Uncle Nick. He can get you a job in working at UPS if that's what you want. If you can't do anything else, I can get you over there. Like, it was like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, so her quotes were great. The one that was on the list was just perfect of her. I was just like, yep. And then she just like walks away and just gives them that look like, oh, you're so disappointing. And it's like, no wonder why the guy is crazy, because he's been beaten down by his mom so many times. So yeah, you might as well wear a sign that says, "I promise to disappoint you." I think I'm going to make that into a shirt. But that's my answer. Tom, what do you have for us?
So I have two different ones. I have one for quote and one for dialogue. So I think my favorite quote from Star Wars ever is a classic. It's Leia to Han. "I love you." Han. I know. I mean, that is such an anti-Star Wars answer, and so Harrison Ford and so Han Solo. And it's funny listening to him tell the story that the original line was Han saying, "I love you too." And then Harrison Ford saying, "That's not Han Solo."
Yeah.
Han Solo would not say that. So to me, that's probably my favorite quote of all the Star Wars movies. My favorite dialogue has to be between the stormtroopers in Mandalorian when they capture Grogu, stuff him in the bag, and they're sitting there waiting to go back to base. and there's just this funny banter back and forth between stormtroopers, and I think one was Jason Sudeikis, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the other one
Jason
was
Sudeikis.
Adam Foley or his writing partner with a lot of the shows that they do.
Okay,
Yeah, so it was
and
the two of them.
it's just funny because we've never seen that side of a stormtrooper before, ever.
The
Like
human
we've
side.
seen a couple bumbling stormtroopers, but nothing like a whole full 3 or 4 minute scene conversation where they're the focus of the scene. And it's just it's funny, it's hilarious, and I could watch that scene over and over and over again.
Were they the two that
Ken,
also?
how about you?
Were they the two that also were trying to shoot the can and kept
Yes,
missing,
And
and then
could not.
And they
Yeah.
kept missing. They were
They,
shaking
you're
the
shaking,
weapon.
they're like
"What?"
something's wrong with my gun. Yeah,
Comedic relief.
yes.
So, staying with Andor, one of the things I absolutely adore about Andor is that it's a fantastic example of how you can have different kinds of Star Wars and still have it be awesome. You've got the Jedi Temple Challenge with Ahmed Best teaching little kids how to get through obstacle course. You have Star Wars Rebels, an animated show, and then you have this live action show Andor, written by Tony Gilroy, directed by a lot of people, and it is so visually rich and rich in words. And the phrase that you were talking about from Cyril's mom, that's one of the kinds of things I like to incorporate in the real world. Like that's something I would tell a coworker. Just like when Han was on Starkiller base and he said to FN 2187, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Like that's a phrase I use in the real world. But for me, Andor, there was this one scene, and it was in the last episode, Rick's Road, and I apologize if any of the listeners haven't watched it yet, so spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, it's been out for how many years now? So if they haven't watched it yet.
So Cassian Andor had been at Narkina. He'd been imprisoned, and before he went to prison, he had talked to his mom and said, "Hey, let's leave." His adopted mom said, "Let's leave here." She said, "No, I have to stay." And so he went to prison, was gone for several weeks. And when he gets out of prison, one of the first things he does is call home and finds out his mom is dead. And then he goes to his home planet to attend her funeral. So he's an escaped convict going home to attend his mom's funeral, and he's in the sewer below a hotel, and his best friend is talking to him, and his best friend tells Cassian what his mom said. So if we examine this a little bit, this means that Marva spent a lot of time talking with Cassian's friend and said, "I want you to make sure Cassian hears this." And his friend Brasso memorized these lines from Marva. "Tell him none of this was his fault. It was already burning. He's just the spark of the fire, the first spark of the fire. Tell him he knows everything he needs to know and feels everything he needs to feel. And when the day comes and those two pull together, he will be an unstoppable force for good. Tell him I love him more than anything he could ever do wrong." And even to this moment, I get goosebumps. There's so much packed into that scene and into those words, because Cassian's about to be involved in some really heavy stuff. And even as she's, preparing to die, she wants her adopted son to know that she still loves him. And yeah, that's the one for me.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a good show. From the start to the finish, the writing is amazing on it. So yeah, the only thing I'm a little disappointed about with season 2 is how short it's going to be release wise, because it's only going to be 4 weeks long, because they're doing 3 episodes a week for each of the years. So I know it's going to be an amazing hour and a half of television every week. But I just wish, because season 1 was so good and you kept coming back week after week and kept finding out more and more, and like it kept expanding, that I wish that it would last for that long entertainment wise. I know we're gonna get the same hours of entertainment, but I just like the waiting till the next week for the next release and all that stuff. So it would be really cool if it was spread out. But
they confirmed the time for the episodes, like the runtime.
Yeah.
They did.
oh, is
Okay.
there?
Yeah.
I didn't, yeah. Are they all like around 30 minutes?
No, they're 40 and 50 minutes. So
Nice.
You have the potential each week to get a 2-hour plus show.
Awesome.
That's great.
So it's gonna
Yeah.
be like a movie of the week.
Yeah.
For a month.
Yeah, for a month.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the trailers that they've put out there, I mean, come on.
I know the trailers are so
Costumes
good.
are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bonkers, incredible looking. And if their writing on this season is anything like the writing for that other season, with the depth and richness of it, and we know that Star Wars came out in the 70s and was designed for children. Andor, as much as children can enjoy the whiz bang stuff and the droids, and because we know K2SO is going to be and all that, I think it's a lot for kids to understand. So they would need an adult to sit down with them and explain some of this stuff to them.
Yeah.
And I don't think a kid is going to be as emotionally captured by that quote that I just shared. They'll laugh when K2SO smacks someone and said,
Right.
"There's a fresh one where that one came from."
Yeah.
This is like I said, that fantastic example of how you can have different kinds of Star Wars when you have different makers all in that same galaxy using similar characters and similar myths. So.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be awesome. I can't wait for it to come out. And we're going to be captivated for a month, and I'm sure a lot of talking after that, because more and more people are going to find more and more nostalgic nuggets hidden in there, because when there's that much being released in one night, it's hard to get it all right away. So it's going to be pretty cool. All right, we're down to our last question. David, you got it. Let's go.
So I'm gonna go a little bit of a simpler question here, but I'm curious as to what everybody's favorite canon or non-canon Star Wars video game character is your favorite, and who are we starting with here?
I'll start.
Let's start with Rob.
Yeah, let's start with me. This is probably the hardest thing for me to answer, because as much as I love Star Wars, I didn't play very many Star Wars games. I was going to go with my favorite game of all time and my favorite character of all time, which is my own character in Star Wars Galaxies.
I thought it was going to be my character.
No, although you did make really cool stuff. I made a lot of cool stuff also with my character. But I was like, okay, as much fun as that is, that's not as relatable to everybody else. They have no idea who Stitchy is. But so
Stitchy Sherry.
Stitchy
I remember
Sherry,
the character.
yeah. So the game that I did play from Star Wars a lot was the Lego Star Wars franchise. Every single version of the Lego Star Wars game that came out, I got, and I kept playing, and I had to collect them all. I got every single character every single time that a new series came out. And with that, I mean, there's 136 or more, 126 pieces according to this one website from Gary's Mod. Has all Lego Star Wars profile pictures. There were so many Star Wars characters in this. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to skip through them all. I think I'm going to have to... I can't pick one character, but I'm probably going to say the other Jedi characters, meaning not Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. Darth Vader was pretty cool, and even Palpatine was cool because he still shot lightning out of his fingers and stuff like that. But just because you could play as any of the other... characters and the other Jedi characters were cool. They did a lot of like flips and stuff. Maybe Yoda was fun. Yoda was a lot of fun in the Lego Star Wars because he would walk slowly and then you could hit buttons and he would do all these flips and stuff, and he would really like slice you down with his lightsaber, and then he would just go back to walking slowly again. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Yoda from Lego Star Wars. Boom, done. That was easy.
I'm surprised that they didn't do a version of the Lego games based on Rebuild the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Where you could have Jedi Bob and Darth Jar Jar.
So you could build your own characters, and then you could wind up making a mashup of people in there. So I remember if they had like a gun, they would be a bounty hunter, and then they could shoot really well. But you could also give them a gun and a Jedi robe, so then they could have Jedi powers, but also good with guns and things like that. So you could really mix and match them up and make some kind of crazy character out of them. So you could probably get Jedi Bob out there if you tried hard enough. So that's that. All right, Ken, what do you think?
Mine is pretty straightforward, and it's Galen Merrick, a.k.a. Starkiller from Star Wars Unleashed. I thought those games were super cool, and at the time, the graphics were fantastic. And the fact that the character looked like the voice actor, it looked like Sam Witwer. So that's my choice.
Yeah, talk about an overpowered character. Good canon, because I don't know how the hell they would make him into a live action character.
Well, so what are some of the things he was able to pull a Star Destroyer out of atmosphere or out of orbit?
They used that in the trailer, didn't they?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it would be a real huge stretch to put him in anything live action, canon kind of stuff. What's your answer, Tom? Who's your favorite character to play?
So mine was probably Kyle Katarn from the Jedi Academy series, because if I'm remembering right, I know this is kind of an old game. He started out as just like a Han Solo character. Like, he didn't have any abilities. He was just like a gunslinger, and then he learned to use his abilities, and you gain your abilities slowly over time. Like, he wasn't all of a sudden the Jedi. You start out a Jedi, and he would gain an ability, and then you'd play a couple levels, and then you'd gain an ability, and it was just really neat seeing your character grow. And I really liked his personality as well. Now, you guys might be able to answer this. I don't know if the Jedi Academy series is canon anymore. Yes, no? I don't think it is. I don't think Kyle Katarn is.
The game into canon, if that makes sense, just like little tidbits, just like they've done with a lot of the non-canon stuff, but that's about it. Nobody.
So canon adjacent.
Yeah, canon.
Canon.
But I mean, I would love to have seen it. I mean, because that was about the Jedi Academy, so I thought that was really exciting, because everyone our age wanted to see what happened after Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
And so this really felt like it was a little piece of what happened after Return of the Jedi. So for me, it was probably Kyle Katarn. How about you, David?
Awesome. So I'm going to go a little bit of because I still play it. I don't play as much video games as I used to, but like one of the things that has kind of held me onto the new age systems, like the newer Xbox and the PlayStations and stuff, was the release of these newer Star Wars games. So Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and the introduction of a new Jedi that we've never seen before leading up to these games, in Cal Kestis. So I'm not sure have you guys ever played the game before, or kind of
Yeah.
Played them. So
almost bought a poncho because of that game.
Yeah, I mean, poncho. The only way he would continue playing the character if he could still wear a poncho, just the whole story arc of that whole entire video game. Once again, one of the reasons why I have the newer systems was just to play those games. But his journey from start to finish, being able to see more of Order 66, because I love when they just throw all the different Order 66 scenes and add to that whole storyline. I loved his battles that he got with Darth Vader, where they don't make it unrealistic and allow him to kind of beat Darth Vader. Like it's like you see how powerful he actually is compared to a Jedi who you think is powerful leading up to that point, and then you really see the true power. His droid BD-1, one of my favorite droids of all time now. Just after utilizing him in the video game, all the different kind of things he can do to help Cal throughout his journey. I like his personality. I know you have a BD droid behind you, right, Ken?
There he is,
up in the corner.
Awesome. And just going from like one game to the next and seeing his development and how he was able to kind of wrestle with the dark side as well and get himself out of it. Being able to customize his lightsabers however you want, even though technically I think his lightsaber is supposed to be I want to say green. Want to be green, but you can change it to be anything. You have a double-bladed lightsaber. You can have a lightsaber and a gun in the second game. Like it's awesome. So they did a really good job with those two games, and I know that Cal has become a fan favorite across the board, and a lot of people are hoping he can come into live action at some point. I actually kind of gave into a lot of those rumors when the Obi-Wan show was coming out that they were saying that he was going to be in that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so awesome. Cameron Monaghan's going to make his role in live action as Cal Kestis. And then it didn't happen. I should have known better. But it actually it would have fit in with the timeline according to the kind of things I was looking into. But I'm hoping at some point we get him in live action because that would be a really awesome way to kind of, because he's going around looking for the younglings as well to try and get the academy going. So that's why.
The reason he probably wasn't in the show is because the show wanted Obi-Wan to be the hero.
Yeah.
And if you involved another, somebody like him, he would have had to be partly the hero, and I don't think it would have worked. That's probably why.
100%. Yep. I think
wasn't there a rumor too that Cal Kestis was Obi-Wan's brother?
Yeah, there were people crazy stuff.
Well, that concludes question 4 of 4. We did a great job again, gentlemen. I loved all of our answers. Of course, mine were the best. But you guys came in a close second, so I like that. So it's not no harm to you. It's it's all tried really, really hard, but I'm still the king. What can I say? I got nothing else. Ken, you want to plug your 3 shows one more time, or no? Are you sure thing? Go for it.
Inflatable Falcon on Wednesday nights. Bounty hunting across the galaxy whenever Todd and I get together, and then roughly once a month, the Rambling Star Wars Fan. And if things go smoothly, I'm going to stick to that rhythm for that show. I'm still working out the kinks of learning how to do audio and video and all of that stuff. So keep your eyes peeled for another episode. I already got a couple ideas in the hopper.
Awesome. I love it. Once again, check out all the other Ears Up shows as well. In a couple of weeks, soon, not less than a couple of weeks, today's already the 17th, in a few days, Andor Season 2 comes out. So hopefully I can find Nick again, and we'll be able to do a couple of episodes breaking down Andor, because that's what everybody wants to know, is what all the, as Ken calls them, the nostalgic nuggets that are in Andor. We'll be breaking those down, and we'll be back here again. The 4 of us will be back here again once again for another Around the Dejarik table. So before we go, there's more. Don't
forget, tomorrow is when 3 episodes of season 2 of Light and Magic will be out.
Oh yes.
So if you're looking for a documentary that's filled wall to wall with nostalgic nuggets, that'll be there. And next week, Revenge of the Sith comes back in theaters.
Yes, it does. So we'll be able to see Revenge of the Sith again on the big screen. I'm sure it won't be there. Is it a full release, or is it just like a weekend thing? Oh, David, you go ahead and say it again.
It's a limited showing. I think it's about 2 of showing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to see it, you got to see it quickly. And I'm sure there will be a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old nerds in there with us, cheering
with
on.
Lightsabers.
With lightsabers. Everybody bringing their own lightsaber in. That's right.
I think it's going to be mostly 40 and 50-year-old nerds.
Tom, do you remember I don't remember which of the movies that we saw together, but we saw one of the movies, and they had we went opening weekend, and they had costuming people there and all kinds of stuff like that. It was really cool. David, for those of you listening on the podcast, you can go over to our YouTube channel. You can watch it over on YouTube. David turned his lights off.
Wait a minute.
So
I feel left out. I'll be right back.
We all have our lightsabers on, except for Tom, who's never been there. Tom gets no lightsabers, but we have all of ours. I wish I could take this apart quickly.
Excuse me. I have my Damien saber that I bought.
There you go.
I won.
Oh yes, you got that from Texpo.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing is pretty sweet.
All right. Oh, my battery's still.
Although my son knows how to work it better than I do.
there you go. All right, so
Yeah,
with
it's
all of our
pretty sweet.
lightsabers turned on, Tom, why don't you take us out of here and let's go and play lightsabers
All right.
together.
Well, I have nothing to plug, so I'm going to plug Ken's show because we need to get Ken to 2 million subscribers so we can all go down to Batu.
That's right.
All right. So I have nothing to plug, but all I have is advice for all the Bantha Milk fans out there. Let the Wookiee win.
That's right. Let the Wookiee win. Good night, everybody. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Hello there. Goodbye there.
Sing bright.
Like how we're all just
Is that a
playing.
NeoPixel blade?
Tom?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Damien Saber, whatever the Damien Saber blade is. It's really sweet. I looked it up. It's like $400 or something.
Holy crap.
That's awesome.
I'll be right back. The
I don't even know
dog
how
is
to change the
scratching at
color.
door.
We didn't talk about